Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. So, today's coverage of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia, I can announce that as of today, Saturday, October 30th, the forces of the Tigrayan army have seized control of Dessie. It was a catastrophic defeat for the Ethiopian Abiy-backed loyalists and its Fano Amhara militia allies. And I had discussed earlier in previous videos that this would be a rather long and extensive process based on the amount of forces that have been placed by the Abiy regime, by the Ethiopian federal forces, by the Amhara militias to defend, not only to defend Dessie and Kombolcha, but for the prospects of this massive offensive that was going to take back the northern Amhara region. So obviously, the initial offensive by the Abiy loyalists, by the federal forces, by the Amhara militias failed catastrophically, and then there was a counteroffensive by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. And there were still, at the time of even yesterday, fairly significant forces located very close to Dessie, inside of Dessie. We know for a fact that heavy artillery was positioned inside of Dessie and was shelling TDF positions from Dessie itself. And what then proceeded to occur was the Tigrayan Defense Forces, in normal fashion, enveloped Dessie. They proceeded south along major terrain features that skirted the city, and then assaulted areas very close to Wallow University and other areas as well. I discussed that infiltration units were in fact entering the city a few days ago, and that was occurring. And since then, we have really seen the complete and utter breakdown within the Ethiopian federal military, the remnants of the federal military. And we had also seen tremendous amount of infighting going on between the Fano, the Amhara militias, and the federal forces, in some cases, which resulted in summary executions on the part of the federal side. The actual Ethiopian army side was being dealt extrajudicial justice by these local regional Amhara militia units, and it may have been the cause of the complete breakdown and what we have seen within the confines of Dessie. But right now, the situation is that forces of the Tigrayan Defense Forces are taking key points inside of this very large city of Dessie. We've heard reports that they are moving in towards or have seized the main hospital and other areas of Dessie as well. And while this is occurring, the remnants of the federal forces that were based in the city are fleeing, reportedly towards Kombolcha. But again, Kombolcha is just outside of Dessie to the southeast. So as a bird flies, I mean, the Dessie city center to the Kombolcha city center is just 6 miles. So they're very, very close to each other, and we don't know the force composition right now that exists inside of Kombolcha. We still expect it to be fairly significant, but at the same time, something has happened. There has been a paradigm shift in this conflict where we're truly seeing the disintegration of the federal army, or what used to be the Ethiopian state forces. They are falling apart. They are falling to pieces. And given the fact that just 10 days ago, there was talk of this massive offensive that was going to retake the northern Amhara region and push up to Waldea and possibly beyond. And now, just 10 days later, we see the loss of a fairly sizable city that was the staging area for this offensive. I mean, we know that Wallo University was being used as a military training camp by Fano, by the Amhara militias, by even the federal forces. That asset is now under the control of the Tigrayan Defense Forces. So I talked about tremendous momentum swings within the scope of these conflicts. Could something change in the immediate future that could see a reverse of what has happened in Dessie? Yes, possibly. But I would say doubtful at this point. There is something wrong inside of the what you would define as the Ethiopian Federal Army right now. It is falling apart, and they have lost a significant both military defeat in terms of a military defeat, but not only that, the political leadership within Ethiopia, the Prosperity Party led by Abiy Ahmed, may not survive this. And we're hearing chatter inside of the coming out of the federal side, sources close to the Prosperity Party, that they believe that their own military has collapsed, and they're now relying on regional forces such as the Amhara militias, such as Somali-based militias, Oromia-based militias and regional forces to attempt to reverse what has occurred. And unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. The organizational structure to launch combined arms operations that would be needed to possibly move north and engage the Tigrayan Defense Forces in a manner that could repel them back north, it doesn't exist at this point. It's gone. As with the Ethiopian military that is now retreating, possibly to Kombolcha, possibly elsewhere as well. So if the Tigrayan Defense Forces are able to solidify its gains near Dessie, which in all likelihood that is occurring as we see, but given that they had the capability to seize control of Dessie, and especially now if Kombolcha falls, there is no reason I see that, given preparation, proper motivation, we could not see a march to Addis Ababa. And that is something that is now very much a possibility. Will it happen soon? At this point, it's very hard to say. The way the Ethiopian federal forces are falling apart and do not have a cohesive command structure right now, and are really not responding to the general staff orders from Addis Ababa. We're seeing a tremendous amount of overt surrendering occurring near Dessie. And what I meant by that was we're seeing units that are not really engaging in significant amounts of combat, but are just surrendering upon initial contact with the Tigrayan Defense Forces. And there have been hundreds and hundreds of cases of that just north of Dessie. So an incredibly traumatic defeat right now. The intel also coming out is that the senior leadership within the federal Prosperity Party has recently met in Bahir Dar over here, and again that meeting was of desperation. So there was the actual speech that Abiy had propagated, had declared, and it was significant what he was saying. And then what's happening behind the scenes. And again, the federal forces that are based near Dessie that were operating against the Tigrayan Defense Forces again have just really completely collapsed and fallen apart. So then the question is what does the force composition look like near Kombolcha, and what sort of resistance is even able to be met by the Ethiopian federal forces if the TDF decides for a rapid move south along the A2 towards Addis Ababa. Again, there is not a lot of major cities. I would say that Dessie is probably the largest urban target that the TDF has yet to defeat, and in all likelihood, again, that appears to have happened rather rapidly. And again, I understand that I believed that this was going to be an extensive process given the nature of urban warfare, but it doesn't look like in a lot of cases the forces of the Abiy loyalists even attempted to put up a fight within the confines of Dessie. There was some sporadic fighting, but by and large they were engaged north of Dessie, suffered significant defeats. And after that, once they got word that the TDF was moving into Dessie, the infiltration units were coming in, they split, they took off. And that's the situation on the ground now. Will this continue to deteriorate, and could we see a rapid advance towards Addis? Absolutely. That is probably much more likely now than what was the information that was coming out of the region even just a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Because obviously we were looking at this giant counteroffensive that the Ethiopian military, the federal forces, the Abiy loyalists were going to launch, and again met with utter failure, counteroffensive, and now Dessie has fallen. The next target is going to be Kombolcha. There is an air base there. It is more of an industrial city with more industrial targets inside of the city. So again, if Kombolcha falls rapidly, as Dessie did, then the idea of a very, very rapid advance to Addis Ababa is possible, and we're also hearing chatter as well that that could in fact be the plan for the TDF, outside of some sort of political resolution where Abiy Ahmed and his cohorts flee Ethiopia, and there's some sort of peaceful transition of power. And then you have to look at the Amhara region equation. Are they going to allow that? Are they going to put up resistance? Possibly. Again, a very, very fluid environment right now, rapidly changing. But again, it would appear that the Tigrayan Defense Forces have in fact seized Dessie and are moving towards other targets of opportunity. More videos to come very soon. Have a great day, everybody.